going on, everyone? This is Daryl Andrews, Coach D, doing another LinkedIn Live here, Facebook Live, YouTube, across the board. So I'm really honored that through StreamYard, I'm able to reach a lot of different venues, which is really nice. And I'm really honored that LinkedIn allowed me to do LinkedIn Live, which is really nice. So I don't know if they've opened that up to everyone yet, but I think there's still just some of us who are able to do it and others who are not. So, but I wanted to share a message today and some information regarding a topic that we all are familiar with, and that topic is leadership. And it really what sparked this conversation was really a conversation I had with a young person the other day at this social responsibility conference I attended, and we were talking about leadership. And he asked me my perspective on leadership, and what I think was the best type of leadership. And so I told him there's multiple forms of leadership. I said there's servant leadership, there's a variety of different types of leadership models out here. But I said I'm going to break it down into two categories. In the first category is what a lot of us don't like, and that's fear leadership. And what that basically is a person is using their position of authority to intimidate someone to accomplish something, be it, sales or marketing, or be it, some other type of outcome that they're looking for. And so they know that they have this position of authority, and they know that this person has to respond to that position of authority. So they use it in a really intense way to produce an outcome. Now, there's a lot of people, let's be real, a lot of people have made a lot of money doing that. There's a lot of people who built big companies doing that, But what you end up with is sort of a churn them and burn them mindset. So you build it, but you don't keep anybody because people just get burnt out. They just can't take the continual grind of someone, just pushing them and telling them that they should do things a certain way, and, never acknowledging their good efforts and good work, and always kind of keeping people on edge because that's how they best position themselves to lead. You see it in a lot of different things. You see it in sports, you see it again in business, you see it in education, you see it across the board. So it's just a sheer fear type of intimidation that people use to lead people, which, I experienced it in corporate America. I've seen it multiple times where it's about doing what we have to do to get the job done, and your personal well-being wasn't even in consideration, which I think unfortunately leads to a lot of, hey, Paul, how you doing, my man? Yeah. And over in Kenya, my mentees, good to see you. And so this fear motivation is used by a lot of different organizations and individuals because they're about certain outcomes, and they're not even necessarily too concerned about churn them and burn them, because the reality is they want an outcome. So in many ways, it's kind of self-centered. It's about who they are, what they want. The best type of leadership, for my example, there's two that's really good. One, servant leadership is good, but I'm not here to talk about servant leadership today. The next form of leadership, I think, is one of the greatest forms of leadership, is leadership by example. Whereas not only am I going to lead you, I'm going to show you through my example how it's done effectively. All right. Now, these are the kind of leaders that inspire people. People literally desire to be like these kind of leaders. Now, that doesn't mean this kind of leader is not going to push them a little bit or stretch them a little bit. But this leader is really all about, please write this word down if you're taking notes off of what I'm saying, develop this person. They see the potential in this individual, or they see potential in multiple individuals. So what they're going to do is, through their example of leadership, through their words and deeds, what they're going to do is actually make this person a better person and ultimately a better leader themselves. And so leadership by example really is a strategy that great leaders use to lead people. They come to the understanding, that the reality is that, hey, I don't, when I say do something, it's not do as I say, not as I do. It's do as I do. It's literally do as I do. There's a Bible scripture where the Apostle Paul said to, people during the scripture, he said, follow me as I follow Christ. So what he's saying is, let me be your example. I'm just using biblical reference. For those of you who don't understand the Bible, I'm still going to use it anyway. But it's a reference that says, hey, check out my example. And as you see my example, that's the example that you want to follow. And so when I study great companies and great leaders, which I do frequently, I always like to analyze those leaders that have built great organizations and built great systems and lead great agencies and head great governments by the example that they set in their leadership. That always moves me. Historically in our country, we've had a lot of great leaders over the years who people just say they want to be like this person. There's a basketball coach I reference a lot. His name is John Wooden. Some of you have heard of him. Some of you have not. If you hadn't, just Google his name or type it in the chat feature. And his name is John Wooden. And John Wooden was a basketball coach of the UCLA Bruins many, many years ago. Back when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was there and Bill Walton was there and all those players way back then. Well, they asked him the question one time, what's the key to your coaching success? Because he won 10 NCAA basketball championships, and he's done something that no one has since done back since that time. He won 7 in a row. 7 in a row. And so they asked him, they said, what's the key to your success? How did you achieve this, such an amazing, miraculous outcome? And he said, well, it's simple. It's called customized motivation. As a leader, don't forget that term, customized motivation. And this is what he said. Nobody on my team is motivated the same way. So what I do is, and I taught my assistant coaches, we identify what motivates this particular athlete. And that's what we go to work on that athlete. We find those things that's going to inspire them to be their best, those areas they need to work on in which they're weak, and then we work with them. And so what he was saying in essence is, as a leader, this is important, a leader by example, I get to know my people. I don't look at everybody as the same. Like there's some folks that just lead by fear and they just holler at everybody. And some of you work in some of those environments where no matter what you say, you're going to get a negative response because that person thinks that's power. And it's not power. It's actually exacerbated. It takes power from people. But leaders like Wooden say, you know what? I'm going to get to know my people. And by knowing my people, I'm going to find out what they need to be inspired to achieve a particular outcome. And so if you're a leader in any capacity, whatever it may be, big, small, whatever, the best kind of leadership is the leadership by example. It's literally the leadership by example. And not really saying to people, hey, I expect you to do certain things and don't worry about what I'm doing. You do what I tell you to do. That's not leadership. All right, that's dictatorship. That's not even leadership. That's dictatorship. And so if you're building a company or building an organization or building, your education experience or whatever it may be that you're doing, and you're in a leadership capacity, aspire to be a leader by example. All right. There's an old saying that we've all known as action speaks louder than words. And with great leaders, a lot of times people pick up what they're doing and they start doing it themselves. Before I go, many of you know I've mentioned Dr. Miles Monroe, and believe me, I'm one of hundreds of thousands of people that called him mentor. I did have the privilege of interacting with him on multiple occasions, but he impacted a lot of people who never met him, who still call him a mentor because of his books and his speaking and things. But one time I was with him in the Bahamas, and I watched how he interacted with people. Let me show you about leadership by example. And what I noticed was, it doesn't matter who he interacted with, he treated them like they were the most important person in the world. So people ask me, why do I treat people the way I treat them? Why? Because I saw that example. of a great person. He didn't have to tell me that. I saw it. And I said, man, no matter why this man is so beloved. So many people call him a mentor because a person could have had an interaction with him and he made them feel like the most important person in the world. And that's my mentor. You see, I ran into him one time in Cleveland, Ohio at George Frazier's power networking event. And I was a part of a thing he had called a TWILA, the International Third World Leadership Association. And so I used to go to those meetings in the Bahamas. And I remember we saw each other at George's event. And there were thousands of people at George Frazier's power networking event, literally thousands of people. And when he saw me, he walked over and gave me a hug and said, it's good to see you, you know. And he said, now I know why I'm here. Now, he didn't have to say that. You know, there's all these people, all those folks, and now people rushing to me saying, who in the world are you? Why did he come over to you and hug you, man? I said, because I know him. But he wanted me to feel that I was important. You know what I mean? With all them thousands of people there. And so that really was a blessing. But the point being, leadership by example is the best leadership. So if you're going to lead by example. Don't just tell people to do things. Show them how to do it. And sometimes you got to push people, but then sometimes you got to lift them up. Don't make it always push. Lift them up sometime. Doing that, you'll become a really great leader that history will remember. So take a look at my website, coachdspeaks.com. If I could ever be of help, reach out to us. We do coaching, training, consulting, speaking, and we do it all over the world, virtually and live. Have been for well over 18 years. And I love the fact that I get to wake up every day and make a difference on the planet within organizations, businesses, corporations, and even individuals. It's a blessing to be able to do this kind of work. Have a great day. Take care.